Hello, everybody. My name is Ray. Welcome to the Evangelical Dark Web. Today, we're going to be discussing two stories. The first is a health update on David Jeremiah. The second is the latest scandal in the Southern Baptist Convention, which I am calling Donate Gate. It is a very petty scandal, courtesy of Bart Barber, who continually is making this worse by lying to the public about what he did and why he did it. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. But first, I want to let you know Evangelical Dark Web is a Christian news gathering and commentary ministry. And one of the things I want to highlight is that the David Jeremiah health scare is something that we covered, and I'm not sure if anyone else covered it. Like, I don't think any Christian news organizations covered this. And as a result of this coverage, this was one of the most read articles on the site over the last month. I think it was number one. It's the most read article since its publish. And it was written in September. So this is something that we covered that no one else did. And now we're going to provide a follow-up on that. And you can support this work at our Patreon-like system at evangelicaldarkweb.org/join, linked in the description below. But the least you can do is like this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, or podcast if you're a listener. It's also worth reminding you that the common thread between these stories is I believe both of these are Southern Baptist stories technically. Like, I think Shadow Mountain is technically a Southern Baptist church because they partner with them for missions. I think that's the technicality. And then Bart Barber is president of the Southern Baptist Convention. So there's a loose string to thread these stories that we're going to be talking about today. But as far as the Southern Baptist Convention is concerned, Evangelical Dark Web live streamed the annual Southern Baptist Convention of 2023 and 2022, and we look to do it again in 2024 as well. So we cover a lot of Southern Baptist news, and this is no exception. So the health update from David Jeremiah. David Jeremiah had a serious health concern. He had some sort of virus immobilize him. So they didn't really give a full health picture, but they did imply that it would be a long road for David Jeremiah's recovery. And, he disappears from ministry. It wasn't the rapture. It was a health scare, which is really concerning. But this is the health update from David Jeremiah. It is good news.
Hey, it's so great to be back at Shadow Mountain, even if it is on a video. But the video is about other things that are going to happen soon. I wanted to personally come and tell you that, the Lord willing, I'll be back teaching at Shadow Mountain next week. My hope and my prayer was that I could get back for Thanksgiving Sunday to just give thanks to the Lord for all that He's done for me and all that He's done for our church and what He continues to do through His word throughout the world. So next Sunday I'll be back, but let me give you a few cautionary reminders. I'm not going to be running up on the stage and jumping up and down at the pulpit. I'm recovering and in rehab, but I'm not there yet. So I'll probably teach from a chair, and I might have to walk up there with a walker to get in place. I really don't care about any of that. I just want to be back there with all you guys and get ready to celebrate the seasons. Next week, I'm going to preach a sermon on Thanksgiving that I've been working on called How to Be Thankful in Times of Trouble. And God has given me some good illustrations during all this time. So I hope you'll come. I hope you'll be prepared to open the Bible and be refreshed from the Word of God. Before I say my final goodbye here today, I do want to say thank you to all the people that have helped so much during my absence, especially my brother Jim and Rob Morgan and Johnny Moore and some new friends I introduced you to this year for the first time. It's just been wonderful to see how this church marches on. God's workers may change, but His work never changes. And the work of the Word of God is so definitely important. And it's my privilege.
So that is the update from David Jeremiah. That is some good news. And I've been trying to keep tabs on this story, and I got someone in my DMs keeping me updated on this story. So, very good news out of Southern California, or is he Northern California, from David Jeremiah. So, love to see that. Actually, I think he's around San Diego. So, love to see that. So next story we're going to talk about is the Bart Barber's scandal. This is the latest scandal in the Southern Baptist Convention. Bart Barber has been a very terrible president of the Southern Baptist Convention, and his reproachful tenure continues for the liberal president of the Southern Baptist Convention. So again, he is a liberal, and there's no denying that. So Bart Barber, this is the scandal. So Dusty Devers, a prominent pastor both in the Southern Baptist Convention and the Christian Nationalist movement. He's part of the Statement on Christian Nationalism and the Gospel, which I'm not the biggest fan of that statement for a couple of reasons, but Dusty Devers is one of the people behind that. And he's also running for state senate in Oklahoma, and he won the primary. So last week it was pointed out how Bart Barber was quoted in an Oppo mailer of Dusty Devers' Democrat opponent Larry Bush. So the funny thing about this is, so this is a campaign ad. It's authorized by Friends of Larry Bush 2023. So that's a campaign organization. And it says Dusty Devers' obsession with sending 16-year-old girls to prison for succumbing to the coercion of their parents. And that is a quote from Bart Barber, president of the Southern Baptist Convention. And that quote is from October 16, 2023. And it's also cited in Baptist News Global, a very liberal publication. Like, they have like openly gay writers there. That's how liberal Baptist News Global is. So it's funny that they get his name wrong. They get Bart Barber's name wrong in this Oppo mailer, which is ironic considering the effort that they would have had to have gone through in order to even get this tweet dirt on their opponents. So they did a lot of dirt digging and they got this wrong. So I think that's funny and I think that's ironic. But it also looks bad on Bart Barber because his words, his careless statements, which have not only been, defamation lawsuit fodder for the Southern Baptist Convention, he is also now helping the pagans in political campaigns against people in his own denomination. So that's pretty bad. Ironically, despite so I already talked about that. Bart Barber then claims he never knew who Dusty Devers ran against in the general election. So on November 10th, again, this is a big story from last Friday going into the weekend, but it continues right now. So Bart Barber said, "I've been so grieved by the electoral gains that the culture of death has made in our nation of late. Now is no time for division among those who oppose abortion. I did not even know the name of Dusty Devers' opponent in the general election in Oklahoma. In no way did I consent to the use of my words out of context in that campaign. For my part, I will not speak against Mr. Devers' campaign, even if abortion abolitionists will not reciprocate. I will welcome any of goodwill who will work together to end abortion." And again, this is this is a partial lie by Bart Barber, but even his reasoning, there's some lies in that third tweet about not speaking ill of Dusty Devers' campaign. We'll get to that in a second. So, indeed, Bart Barber might not have known who Larry Bush was. However, he knew exactly who the main rival of Devers was in this race. Most political races are determined at the primary because they are not competitive in the general election. Bart Barber knew who Jean Hauschier was, and the Republic Sentinel exposed him on Saturday for having donated to her. So this is the big story. That Bart Barber donated to Dusty Devers' political rival, and this is a petty thing to do. And we'll get into just how petty this is. Evangelical Dark Web reported at the time that Gene Hauschier was a doctor who was removed by Governor Stitt from the Oklahoma Healthcare Authority Board in September 2021 in a move that seems COVID related. This indicated that she was a left-wing candidate running dishonestly as a Republican. This happens all the time, by the way. Republic Sentinel explores the liberalness of this candidate that Bart Barber endorsed. So this is the article by Republic Sentinel. There's something I want to read. So Hauschier was criticized during the Republican primary race for previous statements supporting lockdown policies such as Biden administration vaccine mandates for private employers. She also donated $1,000 last year to Joy Hoffmeister, a former Democrat gubernatorial nominee in Oklahoma who ran in support of increased abortion legality, according to more campaign finance records reviewed by the Sentinel. So, and then a lot of the article talks about the context of Bart Barber and Dusty Devers. Like, they're kind of rivals in these Southern Baptist conventions, certainly on SBC Twitter. So Bart Barber does actually respond to this story in the article. And he says, quote, I have lived in 3 states in my life, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. From time to time, I make political donations in those 3 states to support conservative, pro-life candidates who defend religious liberty. So let's pause right there. Defending religious liberty. So this person supported mandates, jab mandates, which the Southern Baptist Convention joined a lawsuit opposing via Southern Baptist Theological Seminary. So the flagship seminary of the Southern Baptist Convention, led by Al Mohler, led a lawsuit against that which this candidate supports. And this candidate has also supported pro-abortion politicians, or would-be politicians, wannabe politicians even. So, not pro-life, not in favor of religious liberty, unless it's for Muslims, which would be on par for the Southern Baptist Convention. So, Bart Barber continues, the fact that this race was important enough for me to make a contribution, and yet I still have never made any statements against Devers' campaign, demonstrates my honest commitment to not participate in negative politics. Why any publication supportive of Devers would seek to put me in a position to violate that commitment, or would give free publicity to an attack ad that was produced using my words without my consent and against my will, why such a publication would do that is beyond my comprehension. So he makes a effeminate point about negative politics, which honestly is his real, his public reason for bashing Dusty Devers, because he's negative politics and this liberal COVID Nazi is not. Now, in the past, Bart Barber said some things. He said, let me be clear, in his Obama voice. Let me be clear. The Southern Baptist Convention does not endorse electoral candidates. The president of the Southern Baptist Convention does not endorse candidates. That's a quote from Bart Barber. That's a tweet that went viral. Now, this is a bald-faced lie by the Southern Baptist president, because he clearly endorses a candidate via a campaign finance contribution that's dated August 11th, 2023, and it's for $100. So he gave an out-of-state donation to a Senate campaign in August. Now, Bart Barber donated to Gene Hauschier within a fortnight of Dusty Devers' campaign announcement. So let's just put some dates on this. Dusty Devers announces his campaign on the 4th of August. So at least that's when the Twitter video went up. So on the 4th of August, he announces his campaign. Now, he probably filed before that, or created a campaign committee before that. But on the 4th of August, he files. On the 11th of August, Bart Barber donates. So within a week, I say within a fortnight in the article, because we got to bring that word back into, usage. But within a week, or a week later, he donates. That's petty. That is really petty. It's not like So Gene Hauschier, from my understanding, was in the race longer, or at least was fundraising longer than Dusty Devers was. So into July and stuff. So this is true, yet Bart Barber waited to make that donation until after, suspiciously after Dusty Devers announced, and so happened to have chosen, he knew the landscape well enough to choose the most formidable alternative to Dusty Devers, because Dusty Devers was a quality candidate. He chose the most formidable opponent to Dusty Devers that he could. Successfully did that despite living out of district and out of state. He knew which person to donate to that would have been most strategic, and also chose the most liberal candidate, who he claims is a Baptist, maybe they're CBF. So, in recent years, so all this is to say that Bart Barber took the time to research this race before making a contribution to spite a rival in the Southern Baptist Convention. In recent years, Dusty Devers has been a driving force attempting to get the Southern Baptist Convention to take a biblical position on abortion that embraces personhood for the preborn. He ran unsuccessfully for first vice president of the Southern Baptist Convention in 2023 against an overtly liberal candidate and lost. Dusty Devers has been a thorn in Barber's side, calling him out publicly. This political campaign contribution to a functional Democrat might be a new low for how spiteful Southern Baptist politics is. And Bart Barber just continues to double down on this. He's basically saying that it wasn't really an endorsement and this person's pro-life and a conservative, and it's just not true. He's just lying through his teeth about this situation. So just admit that you were petty. Just admit it. Just admit that you don't like Dusty Devers and that you think he'd be a danger to the citizens of Oklahoma. You know, have some testicular fortitude, but he won't do that because this is Bart Barber. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. My name is Ray. This is the Evangelical Dark Web. Have a blessed day. We will catch you on the next one.